Alright guys and gals, welcome back. We're going to continue our study in chapter 18 and battery service and testing. Okay, and so today, or in this video, we're going to do our second worksheet here, which is battery capacity test. Okay, it's worksheet number 44. Looks like this one. It has picture of VAT40 on it and so forth. Battery capacity test number 44. So that's where we're at. Okay, we're also on page 249 in your textbook. Page 249 in your textbook, and it's battery load testing. Okay, battery load testing. So terminology here. What do we mean by a battery load test? Okay. We talked about battery capacity a little bit in their ratings, how they're rated, right? That's probably the main rating is capacity, and that's in cold cranking amps. So it says one test to determine the condition of any battery is a load test. What do you think that is? Just a little paraphrase here. What do you think that is? Why is a load test so important? Right? Because everything electrical on the vehicle that we're operating is what? Remember, one of my favorite words? It's a load, right? Everything's a load. The headlights, everything is a load. Everything electrical is a load, and that's what we're trying to operate. We want to make sure this battery can handle the load, all right? That it can carry the load that it's asked to carry. So it's rated, and they use cold cranking amps as a way to rate that ability, okay? The battery we're going to test on my Jeep, again, it has 800 cold cranking amps, which is more than it needs to start that six-cylinder engine. But I prefer to have something, a little extra instead of a little less. That's just my way I do things. Plus, that's why I have two batteries in the Yukon. Okay, I don't need that many, but it works really good. So anyway, load testing. Most automotive batteries are starting and charging systems use a carbon pile electrical load to create electrical load on the battery. So it's a tester. In your worksheet there's a picture of a VAT40. It's a very commonly used, or used to be very commonly used piece of test equipment. It's a very old piece of test equipment. Matter of fact, when I started 42 years ago and walked into the shop, guess what they had sitting there? A VAT40, 42 years ago. And they still have them in shops. When I retired last December at Hudeberg, they still had one, and we use it every now and then. Nowadays we have much more sophisticated equipment that we use, and your book talks about that. It's called a electrical conductance, if I can say it, electrical conductance test. Okay, but so we have much more sophisticated stuff nowadays. But this is very, very well put together. Works real good. It's analog, but it's real. Okay, it puts a load on the battery. Where these other testers do some type of algorithm, calculation, measurement in order to get that reading. But this thing actually puts a load on the battery. We'll see that here in a minute. Okay? All right. So, moving on. Carbon pile. The amount of load is determined by the original cold cranking amps of the battery, which should be at least 75% charged before performing the test. So here's a pre-test here. It should be at least 75% charged. Well, yesterday when we checked the battery, or the last video when we checked the battery, it was pretty close to that, right? It was probably 80% charged. It's good enough to test for our purposes today. Okay? The capacity is measured in cold cranking amps, which is the number of amps that the battery can supply at zero for 30 seconds. We talked about that. So next on the list there, it talks about the test procedure. So I'm not going to read that right now because it's almost exactly what it is on this worksheet that we have, okay? So, a few more things before we go to the vehicle though. If you'll look at the top of page 250, all right, figure 18A, there we have the two batteries set up. So those two batteries are connected in parallel, just like I showed you on my Yukon that's here in the previous video. There's two batteries, and it's positive to positive, negative to negative. So I still have 12 volts. But what I gain from that is I double my cold cranking amps. Okay, that's what it says right there underneath that picture. Most light-duty vehicles equipped with 2 batteries are connected in parallel as shown. 2 500 amp 12 volt batteries are now capable of supplying 1,000 amperes at 12 volts. Okay, which is needed to start many diesel engines. That's correct. On a diesel engine, there's a lot more happening on a cold start than there is on a gas engine. Okay, they're usually pretty large engines, not always, but sometimes. They have very high compression ratio, which makes them harder to start. They have a large starter because of that. They also have one other thing that gasoline engines don't have, and that's glow plugs. Okay, so they've got an electric probe in the cylinder that has to heat up. There's 6, 8, 4 of them, however many cylinders there are, and those things require quite a bit of current to operate. So you've got a cold engine, a large engine, high compression, and higher electrical loads. So you need 1,000 amps. Okay, you don't really need 1,000 amps to start at 5.3, but tell you what, if you've got 1,000 amps, it's going to start. That's for sure. So anyway, I like to be a little bit over on that. So and there's some other advantages we talked about before too. Okay, all right. So if you got a diesel, and you've got something or a vehicle that has 2 batteries in it, then you're going to have to separate the batteries in order to run this capacity test. Do not try to run it on both of them at the same time. It won't do you any good. You're going to have to know which one's bad, because sometimes one's bad and one's not. Okay? So disconnect both cables from both batteries. Test each battery independently. Okay? And if it's depending on the age of the vehicle, particularly on the diesels, like I say, if the diesel comes in to me and it's 3, 4 years old, it has original batteries in it, and one of them tests bad, and the other one tests okay, I'm usually going to try to sell them 2 batteries, okay? Because they're the same age. You really don't want to have them unequal there. You know, why put one in today and put one in next month? I'll just say it's a personal preference. Yeah, well, it's more than personal preference. It's experience too, okay? So if situation like that, just go ahead and tell them it needs both batteries. Okay, if one of them's bad, for sure, okay, it's best to go ahead and put both batteries in it, okay? It's kind of like you don't put one tire on the front and one tire that's almost wore out, right? Just because the one tire blew out. You go ahead and put 2 new tires on it, right? It's kind of the same thing. It's just better off to do it that way. I know it costs more. It's a price to drive a diesel sometimes too, okay? But you'll be better off if you just go ahead and sell them 2. So anyway, moving on from that. I'm watching my timer on this thing today too. So my video camera kind of divides up a file like this every 30 minutes. So I'm going to try to work with that. I'm learning about this video making stuff here. Okay, so the battery load testing, battery capacity test number 244. All right, let's. I'm going to remember to put my safety glasses on this time. And you definitely want to have your safety glasses on for this test. The test we did the other day, we just put a voltmeter on it. Today, we're going to put a load on this battery, and the test equipment's going to get hot. The battery can get hot, and we don't want any problems there. Okay, so I think we're doing pretty good on time here. Yeah. All right. So here we go. We're going to go to the car. All right, nice, bright, sunny day, and we are here. See if that'll sit right there. That looks pretty good. All right. Okay, so what I've got here is a carbon pile tester. Let me back this up a little bit. There we go. Carbon pile tester. This is one that I bought back some time ago, and it works real good, but it is a light duty. It's not near as heavy duty as our VAT40 is. The VAT40 will take a beating and keep on ticking, I'm telling you. But this one here works though, and it's certainly good for our display today. All right, so we have 2 scales here. On this side we have DC amps, Okay, so we have the battery cold cranking rating in the blue right there. Can you see that? All right, we have the amp hour rating in the green, and then we have amps in the black. So when we use this machine, this meter's going to move over and they're all going to line up, but we're going to measure amps, okay, in just a minute. On this side, we have a voltmeter, also with some other information here. It's pretty handy. So right now it tells us we're only at 12 volts, so it says that our battery charge is low, okay, at our state of charge. It says we need to charge the battery up. But let's look over here at my digital meter and see, it says 12.6, which is right. All right, okay, so this analog meter on this machine is not quite calibrated maybe. All right, so we're still okay. Our temperature is okay because it asks us about temperature here. Battery temperature says 0 to 70, which we would never test one at 0, right? Or even 30, probably not even at 50. Okay, but hey, just for the fun of it, I happen to have a temperature meter here, and we're going to take a temperature of the thing, and it says it's, if you can see, hope you can see that, all these glares here, it's 76 degrees, it says, the battery, so it's okay. That's just perfect, actually. All right, so now with any piece of equipment, like I say, you want to heed the warnings. This one says, this variable load carbon pile testers produce heat when in use. Take care to allow sufficient time to cool between tests and avoid injury due to heat buildup. Be sure the load is off before attaching or removing the clamps to prevent arcing and potential explosion from the battery gases. Okay, they're not bashful about telling you that. All right, sparks, keep any sparks away during testing. All right, okay. Now over here it gives you the test again. This is a 500 amp carbon pile load tester. Test 12 volt batteries, alternators, regulators, starters, which we'll do that other part later. It says check battery status, which we've already done. It's 12.6, we're okay. All right, it says apply a load to the battery equal to 1/2 the cold cranking amps ratings. Okay, which is what our sheet up here tells us, and what it tells us in the book too. All right, okay, so we're using a carbon pile tester on question 2. Question 3, it's an 800 cold cranking amp battery. Remember, says that right there, 800 cold cranking amps. All right, now it says use 1/2 cold cranking amps for 15 seconds to read the voltage. Okay, pretty simple. So we've got 800 cold cranking amps. We're going to take 1/2 of that, which would be 400. So we should come over here to 400 amps, and we're going to read the voltage. Now we hold that for 15 seconds. Okay, if the battery will hold 400 amps for 15 seconds, it's good. Okay, oh, without dropping below 9.6 volts. We almost forgot to mention that, didn't we? Yes, we almost did. Yeah, that's our target voltage, 9.6 volts. Okay, and it doesn't tell you that on here. Okay, it just tells you to read the voltage. But that is our target voltage. If it drops below, it tells you that over here though. I don't know if that way you can see this, but on this side over here, battery load test compensation chart. So this is your pass-fail with the voltage on one side here and the temperature on the top. So we're up here. So if it drops below 9.6, we're bad. Can you see that right there? So it has that chart over here, but that's also the standard reading. So I don't know if I'm going to, just be honest with you, I don't know if I'm going to go ahead and put 400 amps on here, but I'm going to load it up. Okay. See the load start coming up over here? Turn the knob. Voltage is going to start dropping, but we don't have any way of replacing it. This battery is just doing this all on its own. Ooh, whoa, 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 whoa! Did you hear that? Yeah, I heard some arcing going on there. Let's back it off. Yeah, sure did. I was putting a load on it. Okay, I need to make sure these battery cables are good and secure here. Okay, we don't want this thing to blow up, especially on this video. All right, let's try it again. Here we go. So we're watching 2 meters at once, and then we want to time it. There's 300, 350, and there is, it's not going to quite make 400. Okay, the battery, the tester is beeping at me. Okay, we're going to turn it off. Tester's beeping at me. I told you this wasn't a real high quality tester. You can't tell this on the video, but I can smell it. It's hot. Okay, but you got the idea. It went up to 350 amps. Okay, 350 amps is a lot of amps. Okay, with this thing, with this vehicle running and every accessory that it has on it, it will not be that many amps. It might make 50 amps with everything on. Okay, so we got plenty of power there to start this car. Now, I didn't see exactly, but I think it only got down to about 10 volts there. Okay, so we got 350 amps, 10 volts for probably about 5 seconds on that one. So that wasn't too bad. All right. And we're still at 12.4, so the battery covered. Now it says on this side of this machine, if you can see it there, it says this product can test one battery every 15 minutes. So we have to let this thing cool off before we can do it again. It's just not that highly rated, highly quality. Okay, so let's go back up here to our sheet. All right, so we didn't put quite 400 on there, but that's the target. And what was the voltage? It was still about 10 volts, I think there. Okay, we didn't use the electronic tester, and based on the test results, what is the necessary action? This battery's still in pretty good shape, so we're okay. Just really want to show you guys what this looks like and kind of the procedure there. So I have the digital meter on there as well as the carbon pile tester. All right, that's really pretty much how that works. All right, let's go back in here, see how much time I have left on my timer. I'll wrap this one up. Okay, it says I have 7 minutes left. Oops. Let me turn this screen around so I can see myself here. All right, here we go. All right, safety glass is very important on that. I don't know if y'all can hear it on video, but I could hear it. And there was some arcing going on at that battery clamp there where I had that tester hooked up. So, you hear that, turn it off, okay? Reattach your cables and make sure it's good. We don't want any injury to occur there. Okay, battery load testing. It's a pretty simple test. Most all these tests are simple. And the equipment that we use today is even more simple. It's also more expensive. The testers we use in the dealership, you roll over there to it, and it's a charger and a tester, and you just connect it on there. You tell it what size battery it is. It asks you what the cold cranking amps is. It asks you what kind of battery it is. Is it a lead acid battery, you know, or a flooded battery? They call it also a flooded battery. It asks you if it's an AGM battery, etc., etc. You tell it what kind of battery it is, what the cold cranking amps is, and you hit start. It tests it. It runs a preliminary test, and then it determines whether the battery needs to be charged or not. Because that's what it also says in the procedure here. If the battery fails, okay, then you want to charge the battery and do this same test again. Okay, if it fails the second time, then you replace the battery. Well, you don't have to do that with these electronic testers. They just go ahead and do all that for you. They charge it up the amount of time it needs to be charged, and then it tests it again. Okay, so anyway, capacity. So how much current that battery can produce through that chemical process that we talked about. All right, very good. That'll be all for this video. In the next video, we'll do number 3 here, the key off battery drain, which is number 42. And it's also a little later on here in your book, okay? Key off battery drain or parasitic load test. It's one of my favorite tests. It's a very useful test. Used to do it quite often in the dealership. So anyway, we'll sign off for now, and thanks for watching.